Hello everyone and welcome back again to For Real Though with Reecie. I know I might be a little more tan than I was in the last video. I've been doing a little walking outside. Anywho, I hope for you all that have decided to continue celebrating this holiday are celebrating safe and sound. And those have decided to forego this holiday as well as others. I hope you are enjoying the day as well in whatever way you decide to enjoy. With that being said, I wanted to go ahead and go into the subject matter that I chose for tonight, which is, are we dealing with our kids? What do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you one of my biggest pet peeves. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I would go outside and just randomly walking, going to the store or something like that. And I would happen to see a mother. Unfortunately, it's usually young mothers with a child or children. And instead of the children next to them, they're hand in hand going where they need to go. More times than not, the children are in front of them or behind them. It just sets me off. It really does. Because it just seems like in this day and age, people are just more concerned with their telephones and their Facebook than the world around them, especially their children. And that's just something that just really, really bothers me. There was a story a little over a week ago about a 5-year-old little girl that was pulled from Lake Michigan. She was alive at the time. They were doing CPR. And of course, she got rushed to the hospital. And a few days back, unfortunately, she didn't make it. She did pass. Now, I'm not speculating anything one way or another as far as that particular situation was concerned. And my heart goes out to the family. I know they're grieving. It just goes to say, it goes without saying, you have to keep your children near you, period. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I was blessed with a time when phones weren't as smart. And when my children were small, it just goes, without saying that you pay more attention to them. Just period. And I know I did. And it made me think about old school toys that remember the G.I. Joes, where they would say that they had the G.I. Joes with the Kung Fu grip. And for those that are even older school, they had this TV show called MASH, and there was a character on the show called Hawkeye. And I just couldn't help but think the analogy. Back then, I just pretty much had Hawkeyes and Kung Fu grips on my boys, period. It's not that we stayed in the house all the time. Yeah, we got out here and there. But best believe, I held on to them for dear life because they came from me, I always say that children don't ask to be here. And we have to be their protectors. We have to be their leaders. We have to be their parents, period. And I'm not knocking, all of these younger mothers, because I know they try to do what they can do with what they know to do with. But with that being said, a better job has to be done. Just period. Because I've seen it more than once where, like I said, it would be a young mother either walking down the street or crossing the street, And they're, phones are like this. And the children are way ahead, way behind, and then after a few minutes, they're like, come on, wait up, or this, that, and the other. Sometimes you got some of them that are cussing the poor kids out like they're grown, which is equally sad. But, a lot of times when I see this issue happening, it's on busy streets. I mean, I'm sorry, but people just, to me, they just don't have the sense that they used to have. And it's all around. But I'm especially cautious when it comes to like drivers and so on and so forth. It just so happened not too long ago where, I happened to be driving down the street and, stopped at a stop sign like any normal person would. And somebody literally come careening off the perpendicular street and ran dead into our car, making a right-hand turn because they were going so fast they couldn't control their vehicle. And yeah, needless to say, it was a hit and run. Thankfully, the vehicle didn't get that much damage to it, but it just goes to show people aren't paying attention. People are out here doing silly things, whether it's on expressways, on the street, they're speeding, they're showing out. Nobody seems to want to put their phones down when they're driving, just all kinds of stuff. And parents have to be diligent when it comes to their kids. I'm sorry. And I literally see these younger parents just, kids are crossing the street almost by themselves. They're way behind somewhere. They're near the curb. And it just sends a shiver down my spine every time I see it. It really is a pet peeve of mine. Because it's one more testament to the whole babies having babies phenomenon. How your grandmothers nowadays can barely be 40 years old, let alone the age that a grandmother, I feel, is supposed to be. At least from back in the day, for the most part. You always had your family here and there every now and again, maybe one per block or something, where they're like extremely young all across the family. But, for the most part, people my age, they pretty much had a little bit of a better range as far as age-wise. But, it's just one more testament to the babies having babies. And even though nobody comes with instructions on how to parent, how to be a parent, so on and so forth, still, it's common sense to know that that child is not going to know what you're supposed to know. So you're supposed to hold on to that child and guide that child where that child is supposed to go in a proper manner. That's all I'm saying. Like I said, it's sad when things like that poor child drowning, I've heard of other drownings happen. It's sad when it happens in other situations like that, and of course everybody, speaks on everything as far as hindsight, if they knew then what they know now. But the fact still remains. We have to be diligent, and that's how I've always been with my boys, even to this day. They're grown, and I'm still, hey, look, I'm not trying to keep you in the house up under my wing anymore. I know you have to, go do what you have to do and everything, but send a text. Let somebody know where you are. It's not trying to invade into your privacy or anything like that. Of course, if you're not doing anything wrong, then it shouldn't be an issue anyway, But I'm adamant. Let somebody know where you are. Send a text. Let them know, hey, I made it. I'm okay. Let me know when you're coming out, when you're coming home. And that's pretty much it, So my whole bottom line is that way, God forbid, of course, you never want anything to go wrong, of course. But this world is crazy. Point blank, period. It's just no way around it. So if you do that way you at least have a sort of timeline as far as where your kid was supposed to be at according to what they're telling you. You know what I'm saying? And then if they, coordinate that with GPS tracking or whatever, as far as pings on the telephone poles or something, then that always helps. Another thing that I've always wanted to kind of stress as far as my boys are concerned, and I hope it just gets stressed across the board that young people need IDs. When I was in the DMV one time, I saw a parent with a child. I believe they might have been under 10, a young man. But I'm not sure what the age frame is as far as getting state IDs, but yeah, it's a great idea. Even when they have the the missing ID kits that they give children in grammar school. You're supposed to fill out all the information and everything, and then you get the little ID card and stuff, and you're supposed to have that in case, God forbid, something happens, they come up missing or something like that. But yeah, whatever age that they're able to start getting state IDs at the DMV. Yeah, definitely. I think that's something that really should be pretty much enforced, because that's another thing that's really bad amongst not only, younger people that may come up missing, but older people as well. God forbid something happens and they end up, God forbid, universe forbid, in the morgue or in the hospital. They don't have any ID on them. And they're John or Jane Doe for however long until somebody finds out what's going on. They just got through on the news talking about a case of mistaken identity where they brought the whole entire wrong family into a beating victim that was on life support. And that wrong family ended up making the decision to pull the plug on that person, and that person didn't even belong to that family. You know what I'm saying? They were unsure about it, but he was beaten so badly they couldn't tell for certain. So yeah, not to say they didn't have any ID, but make it mistaken identity. So now you got two families that are suing the hospital, suing the city of Chicago, and steps could have been taken all the way around to solve that issue from the very beginning. So yeah, state IDs for your children, keeping up with your children. You know what I'm saying? If they're going to pool parties and stuff like that, I don't know. Call me overprotective, but I'm not one to just, I never had my boys go to just, pool parties and random parties and just out here and out there anyway. You know what I'm saying? Without me knowing or me seeing physically. But, I know more and more parents, especially younger ones, are, kind of apt to do that. Send them with families, send them with friends on, trips, camping, this and the other. And I'm not saying don't do that. But I'm saying just take every necessary precaution that you can. That's all I'm saying. And when they're little babies, all the more be adamant about keeping your kids near and dear, and let's learn to support each other in that. And I mean, as much as young parents try to fight back on it and say, oh, I know what I'm doing, this and the other, I'm just saying, I don't mean no harm, but it's just that important, because we're being hunted on GP as a black race, period. So why not arm ourselves with every possible chance to hold on to, educate, and empower our youth so they can grow up to be strong and be our next generation like they're supposed to be, instead of lost and bewildered. But anyway, Not gonna hold you all. Like I said, if you're into continuing to celebrate the national holidays, some of us aren't anymore. But if you are, like I said, be safe, be sound, do everything you're supposed to do. I hope you enjoyed your whole time, and I hope you didn't spend all your check, all your food stamps on one holiday, because that's just not cool. Find other days to do the same thing. Or better yet, start learning how to save and invest. And learn how to do more as a family, period. And again, if you don't do the holidays, enjoy your day anyway. Make sure you stay vigilant. Make sure that it's the fireworks that you hear in the background and not something else. And just try to keep safe and sound. Be good out there. Enjoy yourselves. And let's keep on going and have fun along the way, like I said. Let's all get on this journey-filled donut covered with Endeavor icing. You all take care of yourselves until the next video. Have fun and see you then. All right now. Bye-bye.